Hello and welcome to the Home Assistant Podcast. My name's Phil. Joining me, I've got Rohan. How you doing, mate?
Hey, good man. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. And today we are joined by Artem. How you going, mate?
Hi, I'm doing all right, thank you.
This podcast is sponsored by Home Assistant Cloud by Nabucasa. For a small monthly fee, you'll unlock powerful features like secure, effortless access to your system from anywhere, your choice of voice assistants, offsite backups, and more, all configurable in the UI with no YAML needed. It also supports the development of Home Assistant, ESP Home, and other Open Home Foundation projects. Click the link in the description to learn more. We'd also like to give a shout out to our Patreon members, including our executive producers, Benny and Rob. You can help support the show and get early access to episodes, all in an ad-free feed. To support the show, check out homeassistant.fm and click Patreon in the menu. Artem, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you give a little bit of an intro on who you are and what sort of led you to using Home Assistant and to get onto the Home Assistant podcast today?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Actually, I'm a listener for a year and a half. Didn't miss an episode, so
Oh, thank you for
liked very
listening.
much what you're
Love it.
doing. Yeah, thanks for doing that. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So my name is Artem. I'm from Munich, Germany, but I was born and raised in Russia, St. Petersburg. But since 11 years, Germany is home, so I'm here now.
Nice.
Nice.
And in your day job, I think you work on, only because I'm a developer, you work at JetBrains, right? Like,
I work at JetBrains. Yes, if you don't know the company, it's we are doing tools for software developers. So the IDEs, integrated development environments, is our main product. Everyone knows IntelliJ IDEA probably. It's like very big for the Java market. I used to work on PHP Storm. After that, Golang.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I've been with PHP Storm before, before moving out of VS Code. So as soon as I was JetBrains, oh, I know that. Like, finally, it's not going to be Rohan with his Cisco buddies, Like, I'll be able to, hey, I know that company, right?
That's right.
I've used that product before. So that's cool. So I guess if you're in a software development background, probably similar to many people using Home Assistant or, that come on the podcast as well, is that sort of, is Home Assistant where you started with home automation, or what was your first foray into the smart home?
It is actually a very interesting question because when I started with the smart home, I didn't know about Home Assistant. Um, Actually, I didn't really put much attention into a smart home at the beginning. So, uh, almost 8 years ago, actually, we started building a house. And initially, we expected that everything will be done like in 9 months. So we decided to skip non-essential parts, which was the smart home. And I was like, okay, maybe in a couple of years I will retrofit something into my home. So
Right.
turned out that it took almost 4 years to complete for many
4
different
years.
reasons.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it was the COVID somewhere in the middle and some other things. So it's
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
Right.
yeah. Anyway, it didn't help much in terms of the smart home. So I think we moved in 4 years ago. Actually, almost precisely 4 years ago. But then, like, yeah, you got a new house. You probably have like different problems at the beginning. So first, I was changing the temporary lights to the like normal lamps. I didn't finish yet, which is funny. But I think after the first year, we realized that it's getting very hot in summer if you don't close shutters. Like in
Mhm.
Germany, the external blinds. I'm a little bit confused about the terminology because I think the blinds are inside and the shutters
Yeah.
are outside.
Yeah. So it depends, right? I guess we've got shutters. Also have awnings on the outside as well.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Oh
I guess it's all local terminology, right?
yeah, probably. Anyway, I have this the rolling sink outside, which is it can close and open. It doesn't tilt, so it's a very simple one. But it really helps because it is outside, so when it heats, the heat stays outside of the house. And the first year I was doing it manually, and it wasn't much fun because if, for instance, at the attic floor you forget to close it, and it's like a very sunny day, then by the end of the day, the room is very hot. So like fast forward 1 year, I was like, I need to automate it. So I went for there is a German company, I think it's called Q3, if I'm not mistaken, but they're very known for their product Homematic IP. Basically, it's a line of products. Yeah, so I got the shutter controllers from them and the thermostats at the same time. But then I realized that actually I can use these controllers for almost everything, but two things. The shutters in the attic floor, which were embedded into the window. So it's the company called Velux, I think. They have their own controller. And then I have the custom made, like the awning for the terrace, which is, I have no idea what is run on, but it has the Somfy box. I think it's a French company. And the problem was that I cannot bring it into one place. So it's like already three different apps. And I was trying to bring it into the Google Home, and it somehow worked. But then, like, it was 3 years ago, I think, the Google Home wasn't really good at automating things. I don't know how it works now. I never tried it since then, but I wasn't able to like do the basic stuff like the location sensor or something like that. So I started like looking for something that can do that, and then I remember that one of my colleagues actually told me about Home Assistant few years back, and I remember it was in the office kitchen. He was showing me how like he opens someone opens a fridge at home and he gets a Telegram notification. I was like, yeah, cool stuff. That's what I need. Probably not. But turned out that like Home Assistant can do two things very well. First, you can bring everything into one place, and then you can automate everything at the same time with no regard what's the background hardware. And it was so cool. So like it immediately like hooked up on the thing. So I started automating everything I can put my hands on. So the shutters automation is the first one. It's probably the most complicated one. I don't like it very much, but it works well. So
What makes it? You said you don't like it. What don't you like about it?
it's complicated and it is hard to predict. So what I realized that it is annoying when you don't understand how a smart home works. And obviously, like I kind of wrote it, so I supposed to understand. I don't sometimes, but my family they just have no idea. They sit in a room out of clear sky. The shutters are closing. It's dark now. They go open it. They close again. Then they open it when it's still shining. It's like when I go and look at the logs, everything's fine. So everything according to what it was like to how it was supposed to work. But still, I think like there's one important component missing now. It's presence sensor actually, because currently the only presence I use is the location based. So if someone is in home or not. And actually, I rely not on GPS, but on the Unify. So it provides the device IDs. So basically, I can check like if my phone is inside, my wife's phone
Yeah,
inside, and so on.
and that's actually a
Yeah,
really good way to do it, right? Like if a phone is connected to the network, am I home? Yes or no?
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
before the Home Assistant companion app, when Home Assistant was starting up, that was the most reliable for me to do it. Until my wife would turn her Wi-Fi off because we wouldn't have would have internet issues or whatever, and so she'd go back to 5G, and then I'd have no idea if she was home or not, and it was frustrating, right? Like I'd be like, oh, like she would at that time it was just us two renting an apartment, so she would get home, and she'd then message me like, hey, this light's not working, or why does the TV keep turning off? I'd be like, oh, the house doesn't know you're home. Can you turn your Wi-Fi on? And as soon as her Wi-Fi was turned on, then the house would disarm and act as expected. So yeah, like I think it is a great way, as long as you keep your Wi-Fi on, Unify or Wi-Fi presence is perfect, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And you can't get super granular with it either, right? But it's fine. It's good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough. And also it works for people who you don't want to or cannot ask to install the app. For instance, we have a cleaning lady coming from time to time,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously,
Right.
like, doesn't make sense to ask her to install the app to use the companion. But Wi-Fi, I can find her device. Obviously, it's not one of our devices, and I can connect it.
So would you allow? So that's interesting. Just on like that sort of edge case, would you allow like a cleaning person to connect to your Wi-Fi? Like, are you expecting them to connect?
Well, it's Unify, right? So I have, I don't know how many, 3, 4 Wi-Fi networks. So there is the isolated guest network. It's totally fine.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, just even as a like, I wouldn't expect if I had an open network that a cleaning person coming to my house would then think to join the Wi-Fi. Like they would just use 5G.
Depends. I guess depends on what they're doing, right? If maybe they just want to, I don't know, throw some. Again, like here, our data plans and stuff are pretty bad, right? Again, I think Europe is not terrible, but like, whatever. You want to put some music in your ears and listen to Spotify while you clean or something like that, right? Again, just offline and whatever. There's options, but you have to know about those options to do it, right?
And there's another thing that the reception. I'm currently in the basement, and the reception here is not good. So
Oh,
the
interesting. Yeah, okay.
the only
Yeah,
way to call and receive calls here is the Wi-Fi calling. So
Yeah,
yeah,
okay. Well, yeah, I mean,
which
if it
makes
works, it works. Right?
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
we had a network check on last month, and we were saying that, well, I was saying at least that uh, I don't like the unpredictability of if we were to have AI in the smart home, right? Like, and the AI controlling things. It's bad enough right now that my family don't know when things are changing. If I don't know when things are changing because AI is doing it, then I would just become a passenger, and it doesn't look good. So I can imagine, yeah, if you've got these shutters and the automation isn't predictable enough, then yeah, I can imagine that there can be a point of frustration for yourself.
yeah,
yeah, 100%. And I think this part of me comes from my work on the IDEs, because I started as a software developer. And basically, our line of IDEs, their sort of killing feature is that they're smart.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always very hard to keep the balance between being smart and being so smart that the developers, they just don't understand what's going on. And this is bad,
yeah,
from the user experience, because if as a software developer you try to do something, then the IDE takes over, does some crazy stuff, you don't understand what's going on. I mean, the fun part of working on PHP Storm was that it's like a bit less than 1 million users, and if you do something and you do it wrong, like, you get the feedback on Twitter like the same day, basically. It's
Yeah.
I mean, if you do something
yeah,
good, you get praise, but typically you get a lot of people complaining. And this is the good part, that this is like learning experience, on one hand. On the other hand, like, you have to learn. So that's what I learned, is that the IDE has to be smart enough so that it helps the developer, but the developer is still in charge. So
yeah,
they're steering the ship. They write the code. They have to do, like, they have to be able to do whatever they want. The IDE shouldn't prevent them from doing this. It should be helpful, but not crazy helpful, so that they lose touch. And this is kind of a problem with AI now, because sometimes it feels that yeah, I'm doing something, and as a developer, I just don't understand why.
yeah. The other thing is too, you also have to work with, kind of keep it generic enough to work with how they want to work with, right? Like, for example, Phil and I might have two very different styles of working or whatever, doing the same task potentially, right? And that's also like, again, I use, one of my latest annoyances has been like I mean, Gmail's always had this, but they have their focused inboxes, right? Where like they start moving certain things into certain
Mm.
inboxes, and I just started using Notion Mail as well, and it also does that same thing, and it just frustrates me to no extent, right? And because that's just not how I work. So you also have to kind of keep it super generic and do that kind of thing there too. So
Uh, yeah, I think there is this thing called WAF, Wife approval factor. I
Yeah.
kind of in my head always rename it to the PAF, the partner approval
PAF
factor.
partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we do too. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like basically it's about the usability. So if they can use it or not, and if it works for them. So my philosophy here is that it is the dump first, in a way that if you have buttons on the wall, they have to work no matter what. If you have people inside, they have to be able to figure out how it works without knowing that there is any software running in the background. Of course, it's like not always possible 100% of the time, but I always trying to keep it in mind when I do the automations. I always put some ways to override the actions. For instance, speaking about the shutters, so at some point I had to add a bunch of timers so that if there is any manual action with the shutters, the timer starts and it prevents any automation from running for like 4 hours. So basically, I call it like okay, like there's no polite version of this, but in any case, it's like the shut up and don't bother me with that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of what you have to do. Otherwise, it's just basically annoying when it goes up and down all
Yeah.
the time. And yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
So in 2018, you started building your house, and you said you're going to do the smart home stuff later. Did you, going through the process now, is there anything that you regret that you didn't put in back then? Like maybe you didn't design for enough PoE ports, or maybe you would have done smart switches from the get-go. Like, is there anything that you would have changed?
Yeah, absolutely. We put some effort to accommodate for the access points. So I knew that, like, I mean, I work in IT, I need the reliable internet, and I have 4 stories, so basement and three levels on top, and it's like you cannot cover it with a single access point. So I was like, okay, every floor it has to have the LAN, the socket. But that's the only thing probably I done specifically for the smart home. But now I realize that actually a friend of mine, he was like, use the double cables, like the cables that carry like the twice the amount of wires, so that you can have 2 sockets, not just one. And I was like, whatever. But he was right, because like you cannot have enough power outlets, and you cannot have enough LAN LAN sockets, because it's
Yeah.
PoE nowadays, and with PoE you can power basically anything, like the access points. That's what I'm doing now. But then you have these small switches from Unify that you can power them using PoE. If you have it, I don't, so I have like ugly setup where I have to use the normal power outlet and the 20 volts to PoE stuff. And then you have the cameras again, PoE only.
Yeah.
And like, would I build the house today? It will be like, I don't know, 2 LAN sockets in every corner, probably. It won't be enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it still wouldn't be enough. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, it's funny to deal with that, but the other side of this beyond Wi-Fi is, I mean, you mentioned that you have essentially 4 stories, right? So it's a fairly stacked home. How are you dealing with stuff like Zigbee and that kind of stuff? Is the mesh working well? And Z-Wave, like all of those kind of things.
It is a very good question, because funnily enough, I'm probably the only person who is not using Home Assistant enough for its like the original purpose. So if I'm not mistaken, it was created for the light automation initially.
Yeah. Philips Hue was the very first integration that Paulus, founder of Home Assistant, did, right? He just wanted a better way to automate his Philips Hue lights, so Home Assistant was born.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, the Philips Hue was the last actually hardware I bought. So like the lights, they were never of any interest to me. And only recently I started experimenting a little bit with the lights. So I got Zigbee like maybe half a year ago. And it is challenging in a way that it's I think that the same frequency as Wi-Fi, right? So the same problems. But I found the very nice hardware. I think the hardware itself, it has a fancy name, SLZB, if I'm not mistaken. It's probably, if I remember it correctly, it's the Ukrainian company actually, and they did a fantastic job with this. It works very well both from the hardware and software point of view. It has many mods. I think it can work as the Zigbee Zigbee router, Zigbee repeater. It can do Matter, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
I didn't
Yeah.
try it yet. But the killer feature for me is the LAN connection. So basically, my home assistant lives here, actually in the same room, in the basement. But the lights are up top in the attic room. So I use LAN to basically create the Zigbee network. So the router. I'm not that familiar with Zigbee yet, actually. So I think this is the router. So it is at the very top of the building, but it works over the LAN with the home assistant.
Oh, interesting. So you've actually just got so you're basically pushing the antenna for Zigbee up to the top of the house and connecting it to your home assistant instance on the basement through LAN. That's very good.
Yeah, because they have the PoE. They have the PoE units, right? That I don't know if you have the PoE one specifically, but
yeah,
they're
I have the
wire
PoE
in.
one.
Yeah.
I cannot use it because I don't have enough LAN sockets. So I still use USB-C, but I would have used PoE. And I have a repeater in the kitchen, where is the living room located. So far it works well. The only thing is that my wife is always annoyed because we have the IKEA kitchen and it has the very nice embedded lighting from IKEA. I think the controller called Tat-free.
Yeah, Tradfree. Yeah, well, that's how I pronounce it at least.
It works perfectly. I mean, from the very beginning, I have the controller, I have this round button.
Yep.
But then I realized maybe I'm wrong. So if someone can teach me how to do it right, but what I found out on the internet, you can do either. So either it is connected to Zigbee network or it is connected to the button, which means that I have to connect the button to the Zigbee network and automate everything in Home Assistant.
Right.
It wasn't straightforward, but I did it. But the problem is now that sometimes it's like very noticeable lag because my wife, she presses the button, then a few seconds after that, the light comes up and she's like, oh my God, you broke everything.
I think, so I had the same thing being in the Philips Hue ecosystem. They have a dimmer switch that you could pair directly through the Hue hub to a light bulb. And it was instant, right? You flick it, push it on, and the light would turn on. It was fantastic. As soon as you try to do that and take the Hue hub out of the mix, you would then have to, basically listen for the on or off event in Home Assistant, and then get Home Assistant to trigger the action on the globe. And it's not like a big delay, but it could be, depending on latency and all that, it could be 1/2 a second, 1 second, but it just doesn't feel instant, right? I believe what you have to do now, if you're using Zigbee in Home Assistant, depending on what flavor, if you're using ZHA or Zigbee to MQTT, there should be a way to bind the IKEA button directly to the bulb. So then that will basically tell that button that you are controlling this light. And even if Home Assistant goes offline, those two will be linked.
Wow.
And then that should be instant.
Cool. Yeah. The only thing there is you can't, obviously, because it's linked to the light, you can't control other things, whatever, right? It's just gonna. But no, that's fine.
Yeah, that's in my particular case, it's totally fine. So I'll go check it out.
Yeah, but that's just the nuances, right? Like it's those little nuances about Home Assistant, the smart home that can catch people out, right? Like it's why doesn't this button turn the light off, like light on as fast as it used to? And then it's a whole technical explanation for
it. Yeah.
Actually, funnily enough, this is precisely the reason why I love to listen to a podcast, because all the time I find something like the nice way to do something, or what I particularly like is people coming with their stories, how they do things, and sometimes like, oh my God, this is so cool, I want to have it too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's why we love doing this podcast, right? Because I always say there's so many ways to skin a cat, and then someone's just going to skin that cat slightly differently, And then that will spark a whole new way of doing
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be back with Artem in a moment. But if you're looking to upgrade your smart home, you can't go past Zeus. Zeus have just released their brand new Z-Wave long-range siren and chime, the ZSE 5800LR. You can trigger audio and visual LED alarms based on smart sensors or other conditions, and the audio speaker plays your own files for personalized automation. Or there's a selection in a preloaded library. Zeus are an official Works with Home Assistant partner, helping Nabu-Casa by providing long-range devices for testing the new Home Assistant Connect ZWA2 radio. Zeus offer a range of affordable and innovative devices, including water leak sensors, water valve controllers, smart plugs, and scene controllers. Their new Zen 78 high power relay allows you to control and monitor higher load appliances, up to 40 amps, which is perfect for pool pumps, air compressors, and other high power outlets. For the best prices on all Zeus products, head over to thesmartesthouse.com. That's thesmartesthouse.com.
So in terms of like automations, those kind of things, like what are your top couple of them that you like using, and what do you think is the coolest ones, or what do you think is the most practical ones?
Well, the most practical one is definitely there's actually not one. There is a few around electricity, because I have the dynamic electricity tariff, and they recently, like in October, they switched to the 15 minutes intervals. So basically every 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a new price. It used to be 1 hour before, but I think the European market switched to 15 minutes recently.
Wow.
And like this is a very good way to optimize things. And like I have the plug-in hybrid vehicle. It has a relatively small battery. It's like 10 kWh, how you call it, kilowatt hours, whatever.
Right.
It's not new, so it's probably like the maximum charge now is like 8, which is still noticeable, especially like if like the price difference can be easily, like in the night it's 15 cents, and in the rush hour 60, 70. Like last year, I think one day it was 30, well, not 30, like 3 euro per kilowatt hour. Yeah, that was crazy. So basically, this is something that can be easily automated and easily optimized in a way that I can do both better in terms of the price, in terms of the environmental impact, and then at the same time, I don't lose in terms of my like usability, comfort.
I'm guessing you would then have access to the pricing through an API, like, and is it updated in real time? Like, can you see those 15-minute increments when you need to, or is there a delay?
No, there is no delay. So basically, how the European market works, around 1 p.m., they set the price for the next 20, not the next day, basically. So the 24 hours starting 12 a.m. So basically, you always have like day and a half of prices, which is predictable enough. And yeah, they don't change for this period of time. So it makes it easier to automate things. The situation changed a little bit for me because this summer I got the solar panels, and now like it's another layer on top that I have to consider, because before it was just price and it was easy. Basically, if it's cheap, you start. If it's expensive, you stop. That's more or less it. But with the solar panels, now I have to rely on the forecast, and the forecast for the solar panels, it uses the weather forecast, which is never like precise. And turns out that the difference can be like very noticeable. But in terms of the optimization, it's like maybe now it's actually even more complicated than the shutter thing, because I have to take in.
Of course. Because you have to take into account what that price is going to be over the 24 hours. How much sun is there going to be? You then have to determine, is it going to be more, am I going to get more benefit out of charging or using solar during the day? I don't know if you've got a battery, but if you don't have a battery.
I got a battery as well.
You've got a battery. So that's another complication, right? Is it better for me to charge my battery?
Do I store? Do I use?
Or, yeah, like there is so many moving parts that is complicated.
Yeah. But in general, it works well. I'm very satisfied because basically from time to time I open and look like what's going on now. And yeah, there is actually another layer because I have the heating pump for the house. So basically, I produce my own hot water and heating for the floor heating, and it has the small tank for water, like 200 liters, which is also the energy accumulator because normally I keep it at the comfortable temperature. So basically, every time someone opens the hot water, it is good enough. So you don't really need to mix. You can just use it right away. It is like cheaper in terms of the energy because you need less energy to heat it to the lower temperature. But then if you get the free solar energy, you can heat it a little bit more. So this way you can accumulate a bit of, well, not electricity anymore, but heat, but still you will use it later. So if it's hotter, you can mix, so you use less hot water.
Yeah, wow, that is complicated.
It gets complicated. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like, there's so many equations you got to kind of balance there, right? And it's.
Can you do anything to like help with Home Assistant? Can you use Home Assistant to then help, energy shift or load shift some of your usage to those cheaper hours? Like, can you then use Home Assistant to help you determine, okay, this is a cheap time to use electricity, wait for that time before you put the dishwasher on or put the washing machine on? Are you doing any automations like that?
Yeah. Actually, I have the whole set of home appliances from Bosch. They're all Wi-Fi connected, and every time I tell it to someone who doesn't have a smart home, they laugh like, "Why would you need the Wi-Fi connected dishwasher? Doesn't make any sense." But actually, in our previous apartment, which we were renting, we had a laundry room in the basement, and basically, if you go there, you put the washing machine, you never know when it finishes. I mean, you can put the timer, but it's annoying to do all the time. So when it's Wi-Fi connected, and I managed to bring the Wi-Fi back to the basement over the the power network, then you get the notification, and it's perfectly fine. So it's finished working. The same actually here. It's all in basement. But then when you connect it to Home Assistant, my first attempt was to use the cheapest hour. So basically, I had the sensors that they were saying that, okay, this is the cheapest hour, this is the second cheapest hour, and so on. But turned out that it is useful but not very practical because normally you want to know when it starts. Because if you wash things, sometimes you don't care, but sometimes you want to be sure that it will be done on time. So what I'm doing now is actually I use the forecast for the electricity so that I find the cheapest time slot. So it's actually kind of funny because like to activate, it's called I think remote control on the washing machine and the dryer. You need to press the physical button every time. I think this is probably the safety feature. So you go down, you put everything into the washing machine, you close the door, you push the button, and then if the button is pushed, it means that the Home Assistant can start it, which means that a user requested the automatic start feature, at least in my logic. So what it does, it first takes the current program, takes how long it takes, finds the cheapest period for this time frame, and then it basically populates the sensor with the information when it will start. So you can always open the Home Assistant and actually I can probably do it right now and say that if the washing machine will start, it will do it actually in 11 minutes because this is the cheapest time slot. Yeah, it is predictable, and if I need it now, I just press the start button, so it does not affect the comfort part.
Yeah.
But it's an easy way to save a little bit of money because if I don't care, I just do things inside, push the remote start, forget about it, then get a notification when it's done. End of story.
And that, I guess, also ties into your. It should be done by default, right? Like, if users should be able to start the washing machine, not know that there is also a way for the house to make that in the best window. If you just want to put a load of washing on and it's the most expensive hour, you can still do that. I'm not going to get in the way of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Furthermore, I actually had to put a delay because initially it was like when you push remote control, it was starting it was starting immediately, but then I realized that you don't have a chance to put your own time, because you can use the Bosch app to say like,
Right.
Yeah.
I want it to start like, I don't know, 2 a.m. for some reason. And if it starts immediately, you cannot do that. So it's now 15 minutes delay. So you have time to put your own timer if you like to. If you don't, it will, like best case, it will start in 15 minutes or when it's the
Right.
slot.
The other side of that is, do you have any restrictions in the times it can run? Because like, again, for example, let's say, I don't know, you load your dishwasher at you load your washing machine at I don't know, let's say 10 a.m. whatever, and then now all of a sudden the cheapest time is it's running at midnight, at which point you'll only get to, pulling it out, putting it in the dryer 5, 6, whatever hours later, right? And then, by that time it might be, sitting there in the wetness and whatever, right? And gets kind of smelly, mildewy, whatever. Do you have any protections against that kind of stuff in there too?
Yeah. This is the way, basically, how you learn. So initially, you do it the way that it just finds the cheapest time slot. But then funny things happen. For instance, one of examples you just gave. Another example would be that if it's Friday, it probably means that the Saturday will be cheaper, but the Sunday will be even cheaper, which means that it might not start up until the Sunday night, because
Right.
Oh, wow.
just realized that it will be cheaper next day. Like, why would I start now? So to overcome this, I use the schedule feature. Like, I have a schedule sensor, which is basically, I tell that, okay, on weekdays it has to finish by, I don't know, like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., I don't remember. Like, basically it works either in the night or in the day, because it has to finish by 6 or by, I don't know, 5 p.m.
So find the cheapest time slot between these times and then run it there.
Yeah. The same for the dishwasher. So the logic here is that if you start it in the night, it will work over the night. If you start it in the morning, you probably want it done by the evening, so we can load the new batch.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
You mentioned that you're using Bosch appliances there. Did you take any consideration into like which brand of device you wanted to get based on its need for working with Home Assistant? I know Bosch is pretty good at working with Home Assistant. Is that the reason you went with the Bosch brand, or it just happened to work out nicely that way?
The latter. So the washing machine, I actually got it in the previous apartment and didn't have any, like, it was a rented apartment. I didn't have any automation there. But it turns out to be very well integrated. It has very nice app. Actually, this is probably the only vendor app I'm still using, because everything else is in Home Assistant, but the Bosch app, it is just very good. I love it. But then it has the official integration, which is nice, and I used it initially, but for some reason, I think it cannot press the start button. It probably changed, I don't know, but initially it was that you can say start this program. So you have to define the program in the automation, not on the machine itself. And it's annoying because it kind of contradicts this dump first approach. But there is a very good, I think it's called Home Connect Alt, like alternative integration. It's on Hacks. And someone put a lot of effort to overcome like many things, including this one. So basically, there is a start button. So or my wife or my kid actually, they pick the program on the machine, and then the automation just presses the start, and that's it. And I love it. It's one of my favorite integrations.
That's cool. That's actually really interesting. Okay, so on other stuff, I know you mentioned you're not using presence or anything like that, or your presence is basically like, hey, you're in the house, you're not in the house. Any considerations around using like actual presence sensors or those kind of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So I really want to get some internal presence because, for instance, I have the terrace, but it's isolated. So basically, you can only go there from inside the house, and it has like the very big window and the shutter as well. And this is probably the only shutter which is not automated, because I always have a fear that if I go outside and for some reason the automation kicks in and it just locks me out of the house. So this is one of the reasons to put the sensor somewhere. But again, the movement sensors, they're cheap, and I need a lot of them because I have quite a few rooms. But then they're kind of annoying in a way that if you don't move, they don't work. And then you also have a little control over what they catch. So I have no idea how they will work with the neighbor cats, for instance. So
Yeah.
when I go for the sensor, it will probably be the millimeter wave sensors. They kind of solve all of these problems, but they're more expensive. And then there was actually one reason that was always preventing me from exploring this path is that the previous generation of the Aquarius sensors, they were requiring the power outlet.
Power. Yep.
And it's not that, it is also that I think FP2, the cable is embedded. So it's like you cannot take the longer cable if you want to. Well, you can use the connector.
You have to use the extension and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Kind of ugly. So I was like, yeah, probably I will go for something when there is a better powered one. And I think they announced one at the beginning of the year, and now you can even buy it. It's FP300, if I'm not mistaken.
300. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and actually, just yesterday I listened for the one of the latest episodes. I think it was about the brewery, and you discussed some other brand that produced.
Yeah, there was the Lincoln Link one as well. That they sent me. That one is USB-C powered, and then integrates. It's you can use their cord or you can just plug a USB-C cord into it, and then it integrates with MQTT, which is nice. But once again, it requires their app, right? But yeah, I think millimeter wave is the way to go. But are you using this? Is your intention to use this outside as well? Because I think outside there'll be just too much movement from like trees moving or an animal walking past or anything.
You're probably right. So I need to try it. But my idea was that I will try to limit it to the terrace part, which except for the neighbor cats, it shouldn't have anything moving there.
Unless you want to do I think rear link cameras, if you can get a PoE outlet out there, they have a local AI detection on them, and they integrate nicely with Home Assistant, and you can actually determine, okay, is that a person on the frame or is it a animal?
Cat,
and then you'll be able to go, okay, if there's a person in the terrace, don't close the shutter, essentially. But of course, requires PoE and a whole bunch of other stuff, right?
I actually have a list. It's called the next house, and
the next house.
I put things like there on that list, and I think it has a line for the outside PoE sockets. Yeah.
So on that then, have you got like a smart doorbell, like a Ring doorbell or anything like that as well?
I've got one from the Ubiquiti. I think it's. I used to have G4, but they recently released the G4 Pro, and I switched because it has the fingerprint sensor and the NFC.
Oh, nice.
Turns out that the fingerprint sensor really sucks. I'm sorry to say that, but I remember. I think my first phone that had a fingerprint sensor, I think it was some Sony Xperia like 10 years ago, and it was terrible. And it's kind of like I'm back to that days, because nowadays, like the MacBook, all the modern phones, they just work. But for some reason, the G4 Pro sensor, it just doesn't work. It's
you gotta put your finger around the right way. Or try again.
Yeah. I automated it so that it is through the Home Assistant. It can use the smart lock to open the door, but then usability-wise, it's just terrible. And NFC is good, so I immediately replaced the keys for my son. He's 10, so he loses everything all the time. So I replaced the physical key with the NFC chip, because if he loses it, I just don't care. They cost nothing.
So when he gets home, he scans an NFC card onto the doorbell, and then the doorbell will then, with Home Assistant, unlock the smart lock. Is that how it works?
Yeah, this is how it works.
That's cool. How is the delay on that? Like, I know before we were talking about, turning lights on and off with a delay. Do you find any delay from when you scan something on the doorbell to the smart lock getting unlocked?
Actually, it is funny because it's even faster than the Unify itself. So,
Wow.
uh,
Okay.
yeah, so
Interesting.
the doorbell, it produces sounds when you do something. So if you put the card to the NFC reader,
Yep.
when it recognizes the card, it like plays a sound. So the door opens like 2 seconds earlier than that. Which
Cool.
is
Wow.
I don't know why it works this way. It doesn't make any sense, but
Yeah.
don't
And
know
what's
why
the
it works
smart lock
this
that
way.
you're using on the door?
I'm using Nuki.
Yeah.
I think
Awesome.
you had a very good episode recently with the CTO or
Yeah,
someone
one of the
from the
co-founders, Nuki,
company.
was on because
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know you're like Germany and Europe. That was my question, right? Like because I know you guys have some fancy door locks there, and Nuki is a European brand, so I
yeah,
was
yeah.
interested to see what you went with.
Yeah, it works very well, and you kind of feel that they were really keeping in mind the quirks of the European locks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to turn it like 3 times or something like that, right? I remember he
uh,
was saying.
yeah, yeah. And actually, this is not the most annoying part. The most annoying part that basically the door auto locks. So if you go outside and you just close the door, it locks, and you
Yep.
need to turn it like, I don't know, 90 degrees to unlock, but it don't stay this way. So basically what the smart lock does, it turns it 90 degrees, waits for like, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then releases it so that it can lock back.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's so funny, right? How something like a lock can just vary so much, like from a standard perspective between continents, right? Europe versus obviously US, Canada. I feel I'm guessing Australia, you guys use a similar standard to North America, or do you guys have the
Oh,
full, like
wait.
you got to keep turning it?
No, we just have no. There's nothing like. Well, it depends on the house, but no, I haven't experienced a house in Australia that has the triple
Yeah.
turn lock. Um, we have our like generally there's a your handle that could have a lock on it, and then you could also get an optional deadbolt as well, or a deadlock
Yeah.
as well, which is where you generally have your smart stuff on that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just everything's upside down in Australia, though. So it's just,
Exactly. Yeah. You said before that you have your wish list for your next house. Do
right.
you have a wish list for this house that you're hoping to get to? Like, I know we're recording at the end of 2025, so by the time this episode's out, it's the start of 2026. Everyone's doing their New Year's resolutions. Have you got something that you're hoping to achieve in 2026 for your smart house?
Yeah, I don't keep a list for this because it would be too long. So it's
Okay.
like it is. I wish it be limited by money I have, but actually it's mostly it's not that I have too much money. It's just I don't have enough time. So and it's like every time, for instance, I sometimes go to the business trips and like there is new version of Home Assistant, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna update it because if I do it, I will need to spend like 2 hours fixing everything.
oh, come
Uh,
on, live on the edge a little bit.
Mm. Well, those fancy new shiny new features, right? Like
right,
That's right.
imagine.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
you know
it's
what's
like
funny? I still always do it. Like even if I'm traveling for work, whatever, I'm like, I see an update, I'm like, yeah, why not? And I'll do it. It's risky for sure, but
you're brave, yeah, you're brave.
keep life exciting, man.
It's like I remember my Windows times when I was like everyone was waiting for the Service Pack 1 before updating, so
Yeah.
it's the same. And like again, the time wise, like I do want to do a lot of things with the smart home, and there is a lot of opportunities. But then again, it's like you need to dedicate some time, but then you need to dedicate some time to fix it and make it work. So I'm still figuring out this whole the solar panel things because it's still like it's already I don't know half a year, but it's a lot of improvements I can do.
If you've only had it for
Um,
half a year, then you haven't really experienced all the seasons too, right? Like as
that's
you get
also
into
true.
winter, you'll need to then
Yeah,
make some
yeah.
more refinements and make sure they're compatible with summertime. And yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think like what I would do and really want to do, first of all, I have the temporary light bulb hanging from my living room, which is embarrassing because this is the room we use the most. So I really hope to get the Philips Hue there. And it's hell of a project because I have like 4 switches for this single light bulb in each corner of the room. And I will need to do something about that because, like, basically you need the hue lamp always powered, right? And then you control it using some other smart feature, the phone. So it's a bit more complicated than just putting the lamp on the floor. So hopefully I will get to that. I really want to put my hands on the mmWave sensors because it's the shutters, they're still annoying, and I think with these sensors I will be able to fix them. This is a good one too. What else? I don't know. Like every time something doesn't work to my wish, I just like, yeah, I need to do that, but I don't keep the list, so it's
Don't keep the otherwise you'll
yeah,
look at it and like, oh, it's too much work.
exactly. Yeah.
No, have you got like smart speakers or anything around the house? Are you doing anything with entertainment wise? Like I know Rohan and I use Plex, I use Sonos. Are you doing anything audio visual with the smart home?
I'm big on the Google ecosystem, so I
Yep.
have quite a few home minis, mostly because at some point they were just giving them away for free for like
Yeah.
whatever reason. Like you log it
Right.
into the application, here's your home mini, something like that. But they are very good to play music. I'm not really like listening to the music all the time, so I don't care that much about the sound quality. But like, I have one in the laundry room, so when I fold laundry, I can just put some music there. I have Google, I think it's called Chromecast Music. I'm not sure they produce them anymore.
Oh, I don't think that is that the one they
Yeah.
stopped making the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chromecast audio. Like,
It's
yeah,
like a circle, right? Like,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I had one somewhere. It's probably still in my basement somewhere.
Yeah, but it works the same like home mini basically. It doesn't have
Yeah.
the voice control features, but it's just connected to a speaker, so it can play music. To be honest, I don't use them a lot. The only thing I'm using is that we have this constant fight with my son about like not doing chores because we kind of try to split the workload between all of the family members. And like every time I'm asking him, actually just yesterday I had a conversation like, why did you not like unload the dryer? And he's like, I didn't know that it finished. So every time any home appliance finishes, there is the voice notification on all of the devices in actually different languages because my son, he's better with German and I use English, and my wife, she's just annoyed that I'm using English, but I think it's okay. But yeah, like basically when there is this synthetic voice from the Google Translate, which is like saying that the washing machine is ready to be unloaded, something like that.
Yeah.
But I think this is the extent of it. So nothing else.
Makes sense.
That's cool.
All right, so we've talked about your wish list. Is there any like, I know we're just changing seasons now. It's about to get cold when we're recording this. Have you got any like climate automations or anything that you've got going?
Yeah, actually, I do. So as I mentioned before, I started with the shutters and the thermostats from Homematic IP, and I think this was one of probably the best purchases of all time because, first of all, again, I think in the brewery episode you discussed the data, that it's not that much important to do something, but it is very important to get the data and understand what's going on. And I totally second that. Because like even if I don't want to do anything, I try to put everything into Home Assistant so that at least I have the track of things that going on. I have all of the sensors, I can see the history. And it helped me to save a lot of money with the thermostats, because when I replaced the mechanical ones with the smart ones, I realized that the temperature in one room, well, it was high, it was okay. I knew it already, but then I realized that it does not correspond to the heating schedule. Because with the smart thermostat, you can set the schedule basically, I don't know, like in the night it's lower, in the day it's a bit higher, and so on. And all of the rooms, they behaved the same way, but one didn't, and it was a kitchen one. And I noticed before that the floor in the kitchen is always warm, but you never know why, because it could be just, the basement heating it for some reason or something else. But I was a little bit annoyed because it was a bit out of place, so I started figuring out what's going on, and then like I have the floor heating, and there are the valves that are connected to the pipes, basically that spread the warm water inside the floor. And I looked at them and I realized that they were actually not fixed right. So the system works in a way that there is the valves, they have to push on the it's like a rod or something, so that it closes the valve. And it works in a way that when the electricity comes to the valve, it pushes the rod and then the valve is closed. When like the switch turns off, it disconnects, and it works the same way for mechanical and the smart ones. When it disconnects, the rod is not being pushed; it opens the valve, and the circle always works. So basically, it's heating the room.
Right.
But the valves, they were not installed properly, so they were not fixed, which means that they were not pushing enough on the rod. So it was open like all the time. So the kitchen, it was heating no matter the temperature, no matter what.
Oh,
Basically, all
wow.
the heat was going there, and basically it was like using money all the time because the heating pump
Of
had to work,
course.
had to warm this water. So I fixed that. First, we noticed almost immediately that the temperature dropped, which is okay because now we can control it. Well, you didn't notice that the bill dropped because it's like, the accumulation and delay and everything. But at
Mm.
least I tend to believe that it had to drop because it stopped using electricity to heat this
Sure.
water.
It's not constantly going. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And what helped me to realize the problem is data. So there were signs that something wrong, but I didn't start investigating before I actually saw that there is a difference between different rooms. And now, like, I have a whole bunch of automations around it. So basically, we have a relatively new and modern house, so it is very good at keeping the temperature. So you don't have to heat it like all the time. And then I use the presence sensors, like location-based, to start or stop the pump. So basically, I changed the way how the pump treats the system. So when there is no one home, it just works in the water heating mode because I want to get back home and have the warm water, but I don't have to heat the house because it will keep the temperature. But then when you go home, it first changes the pump, but then it also changes the profile for the thermostats. So like I have 3 different profiles for each season. So there are 3 for summer, 3 for winter. And in winter, basically, it's like the normal one when someone's home. I don't know, like extreme one when I have the excess of the solar power, so that it heats home a little bit more. So basically, again, it's another accumulator that I can use to store the energy. And then there is the third one, which is sort of standby. When no one's home, it just puts the temperature down a little bit. The same for summer because the heat pump, it's like, well, it's a heat pump. It doesn't care like in which direction to work, so it can work as the IC unit as well. It is a little bit slow because it's not cooling the air; it's cooling the floor. So it's really slow. It takes some time to cool it, but then it's a little help, and it's not that expensive in terms of the electricity. So. And there is the ventilation on top of that, which is a separate unit. Like, and again, I love Home Assistant because I have all of these devices. They don't know about each other. So I have like 3 different vendors for the thermostat, the heat pump, and the ventilation. Still, I can connect them so they react to the what happens inside the house.
Have you seen there's a custom component on Hacks called Versatile Thermostat, I think it's called. And it's essentially designed to enable Home Assistant to be like a Nest, like learning thermostat, but control all the different moving parts. So it can take, your own door sensors or your own presence sensors from Home Assistant and then like turn on an unrelated climate device that Home Assistant can see. So that the idea being, I think one of the Nest features is that as you get close to home, it will turn on the HVAC system for you. And as you move away, it'll turn it off, whatever. This versatile thermostat has the ability to do that. And it's got a whole bunch of other features that you can plug in as well. So it sounds like if you've got like a whole bunch of unrelated entities, you could then use this component to make like a smart learning thermostat from this HAX component.
Wow, no, I never heard about it. It sounds very cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
check it out. Yeah,
for sure.
I've installed it. I haven't got too far deep into it. I then got my own like we redid our heating and cooling, and I just haven't had a chance to update it because I just had split systems. Right, my thinking was I will use this component to, instead of using the natural gas heating system, I will use the split systems and have this run through it. But yeah, we eventually moved over to electric, and I just haven't had a chance to move everything over. But yeah, you can use your own temperature sensors, like your own room. So you could go off and get some cheap Zigbee temperature sensors, chuck them in the bedrooms, add that as a zone into versatile versatile home thermostat component, and away you go. You've got your own zone controllers and all that. So
Wow, yeah, that's very cool. Actually, yeah, the amount of things that are there and were done by someone in the community, it's just crazy. I mean,
yeah, I know. Hacks
Yeah.
is like its own thing, right? Like you've got
Yeah.
all those 10,000 integrations with Home Assistant Core that you ship with, and then you add hacks onto the mix. Like
Yeah.
there is just an amazing community out there.
Yeah, 100%. I love it.
Well, cool. Artem, thank you so much for sharing your story today. And thank you for listening to the podcast, of course. Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on and talking to us today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
thanks so much for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.